Hello and welcome to Quackalope. Thank you for being here. Today we're talking about board game miniatures, and specifically the top 10 board game miniatures I own. Now, I'm going to just kind of one miniature to showcase like the games contained worth of miniatures.
Okay, cool.
But my argument is, in my collection, these are what I consider the top of the line. The best produced, best quality, best detail, or most interesting and fun. I would love to hear from you all where you disagree, or where you have other games you think provide better miniatures than what I have listed here. And we have Mr. Michael Matthews. You're here, one, because it's fun to have a friend react to stupid things you do online. Two, because you are currently obsessed with a miniature-based board game and you're learning how to paint.
I would say at this point I'm more obsessed with learning how to paint them than anything else. But yeah, I'm getting into it big time.
And so you've been recently exploring the hobby space, checking out miniatures, and I figured I'd show you some of the other games that have cool things contained within them. My list is a little bit in flux. So as I go through this, there's definitely debate between, like, depending on what miniature you're looking at, could be better, could be worse. There's always some variability when it comes to the range of quality. But overall, I think these are the 10 best quality miniature-based board games I own.
Cool.
Saying nothing about the quality of the gameplay as it stands. Starting off with number 1. Probably the most important on this list. The spot where you want to make sure you start the audience off on a high note, getting as accurate as possible. We have Aida Shuffle. This video is not a joke, I promise. This one is slightly a joke. But when I was looking through everything, I thought to myself, what's the miniature that makes me maybe the happiest, the most satisfied?
Those are pretty cute.
Like, I'm sorry. They only have one miniature. I understand you're not going to paint them. But every time I pull these guys out, I think to myself, that's what a kid's game miniature should be like. Also, chunky, good quality.
Yeah, they feel like a toy.
Legitimately a good miniature. We do have 10 more games after this, but a shout out to my lovely Aida Shuffle fanboys out there. All right. My real number 1, and this is a hard place to start because we're starting at the top of the list, which theoretically everything is worse than this, or is better than this. This is the worst of the bunch, and yet it's still some of the best miniatures I've ever come across.
Okay,
we're going to be pulling off a game that just arrived recently, Witcher: The Old World from Go On Board, and they have their own version of sun-dropped miniatures. So take a look at those and check them out. They look a little bit more like an ink wash, which is why they're not quite where Awakened Realms is, in my opinion, of quality. But I love the detail. I love the Witcher, kind of the board game miniatures they produce. They're thick, they're chunky. I'm always looking for miniatures that feel good to hold, and I thought these were really nice.
Very cool.
And they just look good on table with that stone sort of inky wash on top of them. Yeah, I was really satisfied with these guys. So,
pretty.
The Witcher, The Old World from Go On Board, that's going to be my number 10. If you want to pack those away, or just throw them in that direction, I'm going to start looking for my number 9. My number 9 is only here in this position because the miniatures are exceedingly small, which might be a reason why they're on this list in the first place, but also why they're not at the very top of the list. We're talking about the miniatures from Final Girl. These are some of the tiniest miniatures I own, and yet the fidelity, the detail on these is absolutely excellent. I can't paint them. I don't have that amount of skill and dexterity.
Jeez, who does?
But I think these are some of the most detailed miniature minis
that's
I've ever seen. And if you scaled them up in terms of size, I think they would hold up to any of the other miniatures on this list. Look how tiny that one is.
Whoa. And even that has a lot of detail on it. That has facial features. That's wild.
So,
very cool.
Final Girl Miniature Series is here on the list as competing for some of the best miniatures in the whole space.
Pretty wild.
Scooting this down over, I'm going to grab, I think I know my top 3 for sure. So I think I'm going to go ahead and go under the table slightly to pull out a game based off of a movie you just had us all watch.
I can't believe you've never seen it, too.
Nemesis Lockdown. Awakened Realms is known for putting out extremely extremely nice miniatures, and Nemesis / Lockdown is no exception to this. They are known for beautiful quality and also their sun-dropped miniatures.
Oh, those are pretty.
So I'll hand you some of these guys as well. What do you think? What are your first impressions?
Well, you just showed me Nemesis Retaliation with all the little aliens and... Oh, okay, that's pretty cool. I'm a sucker for the big minis. You know, like that's what I was talking to you about Games Workshop, and they've got like these massive, super awesome. These guys are cool though,
aren't they?
Yeah.
And isn't the paint job on it excellent?
Yeah.
Like, you don't need anything more than that to get the game to the table and have fun with it.
This is called paint dropped or
sun-dropped?
Sun-dropped? Okay.
Yeah, it's a term they coined.
Oh, okay.
And they have, like, different colored washes. Some of them will have highlights and different, like, bright colors. Some of them will have lighting effects on them.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like them. Those are slick.
Okay, so Nemesis Lockdown is our next addition to the force. Those guys pop right in there.
Okay, here. Put 'em away.
I'll slide this way while I grab my next one. All right. Oh, you like the big minis.
I really like big minis. Yeah.
So it's time to show off another giant mini. There are a few titans in the industry when it comes to miniatures. We're talking Awakened Realms. We're talking Simon. We're talking Steamforged Games. Like, these are some groups that are known for making big old, beefy, good-looking minis. And you want to go ahead and pull that guy out?
Yeah.
There's one mini in this entire box.
Oh no!
He's got a tail, detaches so he can be stored nicely. What do you think of this guy?
This is awesome, man. Yeah, this is really cool. I like the Monster Hunter monsters, like from the game and everything. I don't want to break your stuff. I love the monster design in all of these games, and this guy's actually more of just like a traditional dragon almost compared to a lot of the other monsters that you'll find in these games.
He is, and this is his classic pose in the game where he's just blasting you with a furnace of fire.
Yeah, he is cool. I would love to see more from this game.
So I have more sitting over here that you've noticed.
Oh yeah,
before.
that's right.
These are also...
Yeah, see, I love these kind of... They look like kaijus, and I love this kind of design.
Yeah.
It's so wild and just, like, different than what you get in a lot of, like, fantasy western sort of stuff, and I love how weird and unique they are.
I really want to paint some of these.
These guys are chunky.
They are, yeah.
They're heavy.
They're very chunky.
I like them.
So, Monster Hunter World, Steamforged Games is going to be my next on the list. Just go ahead and stick those guys in there for now. I'll pull them out later. But he can just pop in there for now. All right.
I want to play with them.
I'm down to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games left. That means I had a little bit more than 10. I'm going to go with some high quality metal upgrades. This is coming from Scythe, which is a Euro game.
Oh, that's a game
but they went out of their way to make available beautiful metal mechs. Metal is probably my favorite component in any board game. I love metal coins. I love metal tokens.
Yeah.
And I especially and specifically love metal miniatures. Check out how cool.
Yeah. Oh, that's a really cool kind of steampunky...
Yeah.
Wow. Oh, I dig it.
What do you think?
Yeah, these guys are really cool. When I was a kid, a lot of the miniatures that you would see in the hobby stores were like pewter and stuff. And I always thought that was so cool.
I just think the production quality on these are fantastic.
Very high quality.
They're expensive. You're paying
all the tiny little rivets. I don't know if you can pick that up on the camera, but it's wild.
You're paying like $60 or $50 for this box, so they're expensive, but I think they're worth it. I have a full set for my Scythe game. Cool. The tractor is like my favorite.
Is it?
Yeah, like just because it's like a reinvented, a reinvented modern day piece of tech.
I'm a sucker for Mechs.
Yeah.
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 It's always been my favorite thing in the world.
So Scythe, Metal Mechs, next on the list. Let's keep moving down, and let's go, with a game that kind of has to be here, because they gave you a chibi-style miniature for every superhero you could ever imagine. This is Marvel United. Have you seen these?
I have not seen the miniatures. I've heard a ton about this game, and everybody keeps saying, like, this is a fun game to play. You should get this game. It's easy to learn, blah, blah, blah. So I just haven't played it yet.
Take a look at some of these minis. See if you recognize some people along the way.
I guarantee I will. Oh, that's wild.
They look really good, don't they?
Yeah. Oh, they do.
Like, they're cute, they're chibi, and you have every different type of feature. Simon is a rock star when it comes to miniatures and board games, and they even started doing things like this extra, different type of plastic molding here. We have the transparent, just to show off powers. I've seen people that have gone through the entire collection and hand painted them really, really well, and they look so good.
Wow. Yeah. These are cool, man.
Aren't they? You recognizing anyone from it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, you got Scarlet Witch. I'm trying to decide. I can't remember who this guy is.
Because these are all the, like, extra, not too popular.
I recognize Sauron right off the bat.
You have the Blob. You have Mojo.
Oh, he's the Blob.
Pyro.
Okay. I was like, who is that?
Yeah.
Wait, where's Lady Deathstrike?
We have Gwenpool somewhere around here, right there. There's Gwenpool. Just saying, these are the weird.
Oh yeah, these are.
Uh-huh.
I thought I was looking for Nightcrawler too, but I couldn't find him.
So Marvel United, sitting here proudly on the list.
Very cool. Yeah, this goes on this.
And you've seen the amount of boxes I have. There's miniatures in every single one of those boxes. This is just a box full of miniatures. And unlike some other games, every miniature comes with actual, really effective gameplay content involved, which I think is important. All right. Moving on, let's do another Simon title. You've already seen this big guy. But I think Cthulhu Death May Die, not just the big behemoth of a character, but I think Simon and Cthulhu Death May Die make some of the coolest miniatures in all board games. I love how towering this guy is.
Yeah.
I love the other characters and creatures they have in the game as well. The Cthulhu mythos just kind of brought to life.
I want to play that game too.
Yeah.
I really like the Lovecraft sort of style.
And no other company is producing a miniature like this. Like, the dragon that you saw was big.
I still don't feel like that qualifies as a miniature.
I will say, Kingdom Death is working on a miniature that will put that to shame.
Really?
Absolutely. Yeah, okay. Absolutely.
That would take up the whole board.
All right, we have 3 more.
Okay.
We have 3 more to cover. So these are my top 3. This is actually where push comes to shove, and we start judging whether or not Jesse has good taste in miniatures or not.
Okay.
All right. I don't think you've ever seen this game before.
I have not.
Foundations of Rome. This is a polyomino game. It's a city builder game.
Okay.
It has some of the most beautiful production quality ever in a board game.
Really?
So I'm just going to pull out. Take a look at that.
Wow.
Open that up.
Oh, this is cool, man. It's
Isn't that amazing?
Wow, okay. That's Rome.
So these are the polyomino pieces that you're taking and putting out into your city while you build it up. So your city is covered with this quality of
cool.
little polyomino pieces.
That's very cool.
Look at the detail and the painting on them, like the wash that's over top of them.
Yeah.
I think this is, I think it's absolutely beautiful, and it's not what you commonly see in miniatures, right? Like cityscapes and colosseums and great architecture isn't what you commonly get. And so I think that's one of the reasons why, for me, it stands out so much in the realm of miniatures in board games.
So they're just like dipping these in a wash to get them.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. But it leaves...
That does up the visual quality
and
quite a bit.
On the table, it just leaves you, when you're playing this game, it just leaves you awestruck with the city that you built out in front of you.
Yeah, these guys are awesome. Yeah, that's very cool. Yeah, okay. Is this fun?
It's very fun. Yeah, it's a really good game as well. Okay, moving on to my number 2. A game you really want to play that I can't actually show off much of the miniatures for.
Oh, I do want to play that game.
We have Oathsworn Into the Deepwood is going to be my number 2 for the best miniatures. And the reason being is because the game is full of hidden packs like this. Every boss that you fight comes in a little hidden mystery box. This one is not a spoiler. Everyone has seen this one, so I can pull it out without a problem.
Okay.
But as you pull out these miniatures, it has some of the most creative and detailed miniatures in the board game space. I love the way they've envisioned these like different distorted, twisted woodland creatures that you have to go up and fight against.
Nice.
And I love the experience of coming across a new mob, reading about it in text.
This guy's like the Rat King?
Yeah.
Yeah. Opening
up a box and being like, okay, that's what I'm fighting.
Very cool. Very, very cool. Yeah. That's wild. I actually had a similar idea when I was playing that game downstairs, and I was just like, what'd be really cool is if you had like a box full of boxes, and each time you had a level, you just pulled out a box, but you didn't get to see what was coming next. That's what this does?
That's sort of what this does.
That sounds like it's right up my alley.
Which for me is really enjoyable.
Yeah.
So I think it's a combination for me of how you discover the minis.
Yeah, that's a great idea.
Along with the crazy quality of the production.
Yeah.
But I just absolutely love it.
I like that delivery method too. Yeah, that's a cool mini.
Okay, moving on down to what I would say is, of course, the best minis of the bunch.
Are we there already?
Yeah, we're right there.
Oh, okay.
We're right there.
I already know what you're going to say.
It's got to be Kingdom Death Monster.
That one in particular? Oh, okay, here we go.
I mean, I only grabbed 2, but there's no company out there that's sculpting and creating and crafting a game as nice as this.
This is just wild.
Isn't it crazy?
Yeah.
Every single one of these was hand cut, hand sculpted in clay first.
Yeah. That is bonkers. They use clay?
They use clay originally.
They don't ZBrush or anything?
They do some modeling. They do some digitally modeling, but for this one in particular,
they start with clay. A lot of studios do that. Okay.
And then we have, of course, the beautiful Phoenix, which comes in the core game. This is a metal version, which is not standard, but you can just see the detail. Like you can see what's contained in the actual craftsmanship.
And there's a resin version of this.
Yep, there's a resin version. There's a plastic version. This is based off the plastic version. So the detail here is from the plastic.
The feathers are
beautiful, right?
Every single feather has it's almost like it has every single line in it.
A unique amount of detail to every single piece. So,
that's heavy.
Yeah, Kingdom Death does still to this day is the miniature champion of the world.
Wow.
I do have one more game that's an honorable mention that I had it was underneath all the other boxes here. So it really should have been on the list in like the 4th position.
Oh, okay.
But I'll go ahead and grab it to show it off. We have Madara. Madara is probably the best Japanese JRPG style board game in the industry. Giant campaign, full of narrative story, but has all of these crazy characters and a very, very bright art style. So, like, this is the Kickstarter promo box. But you can see, like, from the front cover there.
Yeah.
Just very, very JRPG style.
There's a lot of primary contrast in the...
A lot of bright colors, a lot of cool models. I think out of the entire set, if I was going to paint a collection of models, a collection of miniatures, this would be the collection that I would gravitate towards. Because there's so much vibrancy in it. And I love the references they have for all of these different characters that you can play with.
Very Night Stalkers sort of vampire savior looking Capcom sort of thing. I dig it. Yeah. This is great. So this is good color theory too. That's what I'm saying by contrast. There's a lot of contrast in the colors as well, but they always do that. That's fantastic.
So
you should paint these, man.
I know. If I was gonna paint an entire set, this would be at the top of the list for one of those that I just want to sit down and be able to like look at all of this displayed and have it be all those vibrant poppy colors and bright neon lights and everything there. So
very cool.
I think those are my best miniatures out of the collection. What stood out to you? What do you think? I know I went through there pretty quick and screamed most of the video.
So I think when I'm looking at miniatures, I guess I don't know like the history of them and like the levels of detail, so that's not really what I'm looking at, and I don't think I would have thought to think of like the sturdiness of the resin or anything. I look at the uniqueness and like the character design.
Yeah.
So like I've always thought that the Kingdom Death character design was just really, really cool. I like honestly, I like the Nemesis Retaliation, but I'm a huge Aliens fan. That I would say Kingdom Death and Nemesis of the ones that you pulled out, and then one of the not the big
not the dragon,
not the big monster,
but some of the other
the little guy with the hammerhead stuff. I just love when something is so new and different, and it doesn't have that sort of Lord of the Rings kind of fantasy look, the Tolkien. I like when people deviate from that, and I like the more they deviate from that, and the more it looks like some kind of surreal, bizarre creation out of someone's head, the more into it I am. But now I'm starting to appreciate the weight and the heft and the production quality of some of these a little more.
For me, a lot of it, like, it comes down to style in game first. Then it comes down to the miniature detail, how much can a wash really make it pop on the table, and then finally it comes down to like how weighty, how good does the miniature feel in my hands? Because I'm going to be playing with it and moving around. I want it to have some texture to it.
Yeah,
to the point where when you paint your miniatures and stuff, sometimes people will hide washers underneath them.
That's a good idea.
To make the bases weigh a little bit more.
I like that idea.
Yeah.
That's a great idea, actually.
So, there's a lot of things you can do or you can like hollow out areas and fill it with clay if the model is big but not really bulky. There's things that you can do to really make them feel like they have presence there on the table. Because if you're fighting something big, you want it to feel like it's chewing at you a little bit, which is why I like metal so much.
Yeah, like the Massive Darkness ones, there's some models in there that I think are really cool, but none of them feel like that.
Yeah, none of them feel like
That's a great idea.
Yeah, they have quality. Or I'd love to learn how to actually bronzesmith eventually myself. Because imagine taking the collection like this and just bronzing it all.
That would be cool.
Ugh.
That's a process. I've actually done that before.
I like bronze models more than painted models.
Oh, yeah.
Period.
When they have that level of detail, especially.
Yeah.
So cool.
Cool. All right. Thanks for watching the video. Let us know. What do you think your favorite miniatures in board games or board game-based miniatures are?
And why didn't Jesse pull out any workshop miniatures?
I didn't. I don't have any of the like Warhammer stuff like that. They're a little bit beyond the scope of my ability at the moment.
We should get into it.
Also, it's a war game. It's not quite a board game.
Tabletop game?
Yeah, it's like a war. Okay. I think so. A bit of a different category. Okay. Not that it wouldn't if I had any of them and I did them. They would be on this list, I'm sure.
Okay.
But it's a little bit out of the scope of what I have explored in the hobby space.
Gotcha. All right.
So
that's fair.
Because there's a lot of miniature companies, specifically, not board game miniature companies, but miniature companies that make excellent stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And there's a lot of war game companies where the war game is all really deluxeified miniatures, from Star Wars to some of these other, very exploratory, like cool universe things.
But those aren't considered board games.
They're in the hobby space for sure, but they're not what I've explored, so I wouldn't be familiar with them.
That makes sense.
So it's a whole other category that you dive into, and when you're there, you really are into miniature building, miniature painting. Yeah. The only thing I dip my foot into with miniature building is Kingdom Death stuff.
So, you had to build those?
Not this one. No, this one's an exclusive. But the Phoenix and stuff, yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
So
that sounds like fun too.
Kingdom Death comes looking like
just a bunch of sprues.
This original.
Okay, yeah, that's kind of when you get into the Games Workshop stuff.
This is Santa Claus. It really is.
Why is Santa Claus in Kingdom Death?
Well, because
or is that a spoiler?
He collects and eats children.
That sounds like Krampus to me, but okay.
Yeah. This is a version of Santa. But either way,
that's awesome.
Thanks for watching. Thanks for being here. Let us know where we right, where we wrong. We're just really screwing around on the channel at this point. So if you enjoy that, hit the subscribe button down below. And if you're like all the people that didn't do that, okay. Bye.